When you have the European Trade Commissioner, Cecilia Malmström, using language like retaliation will be measured, proportionate, she actually said this, Mr. Gutierrez: when they say American first, we say Europe united. It's military language. How do you even negotiate from a position like this?
Well, it's a very good point, because it's very hard to negotiate with a country in public when you have a gun to their head. And that gun to their head, of course, are all these tariffs. We have a lot of balls in the air. So I think that will be very difficult. And the question now is, will the president back down? And can he afford to do that? And what are the risks of backing down? Because our credibility is on the line, his credibility is on the line. If he continues and doesn't back down, then we have a real trade war. And that's going to impact not just the world, but it's going to impact the U.S. It may even impact us more than others, because our whole business model relies on inexpensive materials that are put into manufactured goods and then re-exported or sold here.
Carlos, wonderful to have you joining us. And I really want to get your sense of taking us back to when you were Commerce Secretary. You were bringing in landmark free trade deals, particularly with Latin America, for example. I mean, have we just moved so far away from that? You called at the time of the campaigns that the economic policies of Donald Trump were crazy. You called them a disaster. You stand by those comments?
Well, I think the trade policy is a disaster, yes. I like tax reform. I like regulatory reform. But regrettably, I think the trade policy has the potential of totally undermining any gains that were made through tax reform or regulatory reform. So this is extremely unfortunate. And we've opened up, three very large fronts. One is NAFTA. The other one is the European Union. And then, of course, there's China. So to carry out those three wars at the same time, I just think it's going to be devastating for the world trading system. It's going to be devastating for our own economy. It's going to cost us jobs. It's going to create inflation. Ironically, these steel tariffs are going to make it too expensive to build a factory in the U.S. And my understanding was that all of this was geared toward bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. Very unfortunate. We are trying to solve the wrong problem, which is the trade deficit. And that's why we're getting into this spiral, because somehow in the administration, there's a belief that the trade deficit is the big number to go after, and that's going to get us in trouble.